consciousness, and therefore a creative purpose. Elementary particles like atoms and electrons are not things per se. These particles form a world of pure possibilities, which are made into actualities through the choices of the observer. We essentially create realities with our minds. And God is the ultimate reality. He is always observing, always present. Through him, all things have their existence. Through him, all things are made and made new. Genesis chapter 1 through 2, 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. If God is love, then love underpins the universe. 1 John chapter 4, verse 8. Essentially, perfect love is the raison d'être for everything as a thing that exists. But what does all this have to do with us? If we are created in the image of God, Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, if we have the mind of the Messiah, 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 16, if we are the children of God, Galatians chapter 3, verse 26, if we are called to reflect his glory, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18, and if we are the high priests and stewards of creation, Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, we have this power, the power of the mind. Now that is certainly something to get excited about. It is also something we ought to take very seriously. We cannot call ourselves sons or daughters of the Most High God without realizing that our thoughts, feelings, and choices impact not only us, but everyone and everything around us. We create realities that transform our world. It is up to us to decide what kind of realities we are going to construct. These readings were created as a guide to help you understand the unique power of your mind, your choices, and your impact. It is, essentially, a beginner's how-to guide for creating realities, although it is by no means the final word on the subject. This book is more like a conversation, as opposed to a "this is how it is" lecture. I use passages and verses as the start, not the end of a subject or an issue. Like the early followers of the Messiah, I believe that the Bible is a series of narratives that speak to, not rule over, human society. These readings provide a platform for discussion. Every day, it is up to you to examine the scripture in question in an attempt to form a framework for dealing with life. In other words, this verse helps construct a worldview that can create realities of love through reading the Bible and allowing it to read you. These readings are essentially a way of tapping into the authority of Logos and manifesting God's love as flesh into your life, acting in love, just as Jesus was God's love incarnated. It is about bringing heaven to earth through your choices. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 19, Matthew chapter 6, verse 11. Each scripture will be followed by a brainy tip. Science is not only exciting, but also another way of worshiping God. It tells us about his magnificent creation. Where scripture gives us the why, science tells us about the how. We should not come to scripture demanding it to bow to science, or vice versa. Understanding the science behind scripture is a more holistic and meaningful way of approaching biblical narratives, allowing us to see and understand elements of the text that hitherto went unnoticed. It allows us to approach the text as a dialogue between two very different, but often complementary vantage points. This dialogue encourages not only more questions, but also an incredible sense of wonder at the magnificence of our Creator. I would go as far as to say that it helps